Hi, this is Alexandra Petrae, and I will be presenting a configuration demo for the OVSDB feature in IxNetwork. In this demo, the device under test is the open source solution OpenContrail. More precisely, we want to test the OVSDB controller that sits on the OpenContrail. The purpose of this test is to, first of all, see that the OVSDB controller sends relevant information to the OVSDB server connected to. For example, we want to see that the controller sends information regarding the logical switches in the network. Second, we want to test that the OVSDB controller sends information that learns from one of the OVSDB servers to all other OVSDB servers it's connected to and might be interested in that information. And finally, we want to run traffic across VM hosts behind baseline tunnel endpoints using the information fed by the controller to the OVSDB server, more precisely in the information that can be found in the unicast max remote and multicast max remote tables. To achieve this, we will need two XIA ports that we will connect in the same network with the OpenContrail. On each of these ports we will configure OVSDB server that will communicate with the OVSDB controller. Also, along with the OVSDB server, we want to configure also some VXLAN tunnel endpoints, along with some virtual machines behind those VXLAN sessions. So this is our setup topology, and knowing this, we can start building our IxNetwork configuration. I started the IxNetwork, and now we can add two ports. I'm adding a chassis to my configuration. I will select two ports, and once they're added, we can start our configuration. I will select my first port, add it to my topology, click next, and then I will look for OVSDB server protocol under SDN. Select it and click finish. Now notice that the topology is added to my configuration, and in this topology I will have the OVSDB server device group along with the baseline tunnel endpoints, and behind those baseline sessions you'll see that another device group is connected. This device group 3, represents the VM hosts behind those VXLAN tunnel endpoints. So let's start configuring. On my port, I want to have one OVSDB server, so I leave this multiplier 1, and I will configure the IP address of the OVSDB server according to my topology. So this is okay. So now that I have configured the IP layer, I can move to the OVSDB layer. Here we have the OVSDB specific parameters. First of all, we have the schema, that is hardware VTEP. Next, we have connection type, that we can select TCP or TLS. I want to select TCP for our test. And also we can configure the TCP port. We will leave it the default value. Also, next we have parameters regarding certificate location. These are needed in case the TCP connection is TLS. So here you can specify the exact file names of the certificate and the private key. Next, we have a manager count. If we this is the number of managers we want the OVSDB server to initiate connection to. So if we configure this to, let's say, 5, we can move in the next tab, Managers tab, and here we have 5 rows in which we can configure 5 managers. This means that the OVSDB server will initiate the OVSDB connection to all of these 5 IP addresses that will be configured here. In our test, we don't want the OVSDB server to initiate the connection. We'll leave the controller to do that. So I'm gonna leave this 0 here. Okay, so for the VXLAN session, we want to configure, let's say, only 2 VXLAN tunnel endpoints. Okay, so you see that these 2 VXLAN sessions are connected to the OVSDB server in this port. So I'll match the configuration on the OVSDB controller with this right here, and I want to select the VNI 4. Okay, I'm gonna leave all other fields by default, just want to disable Resolve Gateway. Okay, so on the other port we will configure the same protocols. OVSDB server with VXLAN stacks. Let's say on this topology we have 3 VXLAN sessions. Also, I'll have to configure the OVSDB server IP address. Okay, so this is 62. Okay. Okay, so after I finish configuring all the IP addresses and the VM IP addresses, I can start my test. Let's start control plane capture on both ports. You want to see the message exchange. Okay, so my capture is started, and now we can start our protocols. I select the topology, the first topology, and select from the ribbon. Okay, so my first topology is up. We can see this also from the protocol summary. See that I have one OVSDB server that is up. Let's start. The protocol is also on the other port. Also, in this view, in the protocol summary view from the statistics, I can select the OVSDB server row and click right and drill down per port. And here, after refreshing the stats, we'll see some statistics. For example, on my first port that I've started the first time has one monitor that was received. Also, some updates were sent. We should be able to see this also in the control plane capture. Let's follow this TCP stream. Okay, so the OVSDB controller sends a monitor. And we respond with all the information we have stored on that port. For example, we respond with the IXVTEP VXLAN 2_2. This is the physical switch, and also the physical port, that is IXport VXLAN 2_2. These names are constructed from the VXLAN layer's name, adding the suffix export, the prefix export, and the suffix, the number of the VXLAN session. So basically, this name is used, the name of the VXLAN stack, in this case VXLAN 2, and with the suffix of the number of session. Moving back to the control plane capture, we should be able to see that after responding to this monitor, the OVSDB controller responds with transact method JSON, in which it inserts in the multicast maxi mode table, and also it inserts a row in the logical switch for a new logical switch with the tunnel key 4. This is exactly the same VNI as the one configured in our topology. Also, once we receive this logical switch from the controller, we see that the tunnel key matches the VNI on our topology, and we start inserting in the unicast max local table. Here we insert the IP address and MAC address of the VM hosts that were configured in my topology. So 80.0.24.101 is the IP address on this port, on topology 2 port, with IPv4 6 layer, and this session right here with the MAC that is configured underneath it. So all this information is fed to the OVSDB controller in the UCAS Max local table. Also, if we hit refresh once again, we should be able to see that the OVSDB controller is sending echo JSONs. Once this information is fed to the OVSDB controller in UCAS Max local table, the OVSDB controller will send this information forward to the other OVSDB servers that are connected to that logical switch as information in the UCAS Max remote table. So on the other port, we should see the OVSDB server knows about these VM IPs on this port. So I'm gonna move to my first port, go to VXLAN, and here by clicking right on the first session, we see here get VXLAN learned info option. What this does is to display all the entries in the UCAS Max remote table. So let's click this, and we'll see here that the controller sends us this information consisting of the remote VM MAC that is exactly the one on my other port, along with the remote VTEP IP address, also that's on my other port. Symmetrically, on the other port, we should see information about the IP addresses and MAC addresses of this port. So let's see if we have these MAC addresses. Let's select the first session, get VXLAN learned info. So I'll have here all the 10 sessions that are configured on the other port. So having this in place, I should be able to create traffic item from the VM behind the VXLAN tunnel endpoints using exactly this information that was fed by the OVSDB controller. So in the traffic item, I'm gonna edit this IPv4 traffic item to see what's configured. Okay, so I have selected as source endpoint the IPv4 address in the VM device group behind the VXLAN sessions. I can see the exact values here. So These are my endpoints. Okay, and as destination, I've selected the IPv4 addresses on the other port, which are 50. And I can move forward, and we'll see the encapsulation of that packet is as expected with the VXLAN header in it. Okay, so we want to set flow tracking after destination address, let's say, and VNI. Next to preview, we can see the generated flow groups that are displayed like this, along with the inner encapsulation with the inner source address and destination address. Also MAC addresses and VNI used on the VXLAN header. And finally, the source address and destination address in the outer IP header. So after configuring all this, I can hit finish. And once my traffic item is generated, then I can apply it. And now let's start the traffic. So now my traffic item is successfully running from one port to the other port, using the information in the UCAS-MAX remote table of the OVSDB database. By this, I think we reached all our goals in this demo. Thank you for watching. Bye.